currently the principal product manager for the experimentation area, a test and learn center of activities, central team that is an enabler for experimentation at Farfetch.
And as you expand the use cases to different areas of the business, how is your platform handling this? So very much tactically from a data and technical standpoint.
We followed not the most regular way, which is for most of the companies to start just, okay, let's do experimentation. And instead of investing immediately on building their own tools, normally they invest on getting some third parties and use them to elevate and come to a point that, yes, the tool is not good enough for us, or so we'll need to start building our own. We actually reversed these completely. It was super fun, because only after a couple of years, we actually embedded some third parties to try to accelerate some specific points, like, for example, Optimizely. But we have been always investing on building our data and experimentation platform as core. Again, because I think it's part of our business model. We are not building just a website, an e-commerce solution, but actually building a platform to allow others to build. So having a solid data layer, it was always fundamental for our business. Almost 100% of our customer products that we release use experimentation practices and our tooling to do their natural product development on the different stages of product development, from the most basic product validation, but also on the early stages when they are doing product discovery, or even trying to identify the different build-up strategies that they can explore before settling on a specific solution. Like I said, we are building a platform. We have, besides the consumer products, we also have the back office products area, a huge area that is building all the tools that our partners use on our platform to manage all the e-commerce platform as a whole. And you can imagine, from everything from customer support to legal to finance, payments, all of that has lots of products also built internally by our teams that are products that they evolve as part of a platform. And one of the challenges is how to actually adapt these experimentation practices that are, especially on the business, especially when we start looking at best practices, they always are very focused on CRO, right? And CRO doesn't apply when we are talking about back office products, right? The focus there is more about productivity, error rates, making sure that the users that actually are interacting with those products do their tasks in a better, more productive way, and avoiding duplication of work and mistakes, etc. So it's a challenge by itself. But then it even goes further. You have other areas like the actual platform layer, where the teams are actually building the modules that are basically services that don't even surface. They don't even have an interface with the customers, right? How to actually apply experimentation practices at the platform services level. How to actually make sure that when we are doing a test on a service, on a data service, on a recommendations module, on a search engine, on a ranking system, how to do experimentation at those levels. It's basically how can we enable most of the data teams, the data science teams, to actually validate some of their models, some of their machine learning models that they are building against all the others in a self-service manner. That's another area that we have been focusing a lot. And then there is the other one, which is part of our platform vision, which is, besides building the entire platform and keep growing it, like I said, we also have lots of partners and clients that are building their own e-commerce solutions on top of us. Many big players, I can say a couple of them that are more or less public, like Harrods, for example, or Browns. They have built their own entire system on top of us, and many others that I cannot say publicly. But we also have a challenge, and I put myself also as a challenge for the team. How can we also onboard all of those to actually use both our tooling, but also our practices?
Through all of those three other applications, there's so not the product, which was the baseline, but the internal products, softwares, the building of those, and the partner setups and systems and processes and teams. Is your internal testing platform what's being used across those, or is that where you're plugging in the third parties like Optimizely?
And super interesting question. So on some of those partners, actually sometimes they even bring their own experimentation tools, or Optimizely, or Google Optimize, and that's sometimes okay. We have a set of what we see as the official tool sets that are supported at Farfetch, but we always support the others in the sense of practices, for example, and rituals. And that's for me always the most important part. Where we also have used, for example, Optimizely has been to accelerate the development, for example, as a rapid iteration tool on the web. So for some of our clients. We decided to start as a server-side full stack service, but not necessarily on the web component. And that's where, for example, Optimizely Web has been accelerating a lot our work there to really deliver more. But we always have integrated even Optimizely as part of our tool set. So it's fully integrated, the full data cycle. All the events actually are being sent to Optimizely through our omni-tracking events, getting back that data. So making sure that we have a single version of truth about the event.
Can you speak to the soft sides of things, the processes that you put in place to scale that new system across those different applications? And get specific on the ritual side.
We created, starting with the most common ways, we created a standard format to define hypotheses. We call it LEAR, comes from learning. It's a very simple, it's nothing rocket science, but it's important to have a standard format on how to define. It's basically a one-pager that defines, this is the hypothesis. This is what the insights, what I want to learn, why I want to learn it, how I'm going to learn it about it, and getting the results there. We also store those documents on a centralized repository, so it's easy searchable for everybody. Then we also have set up peer review sessions. So every 2 weeks, we have a peer review session where people come with their hypotheses, early hypotheses, and they bring and discuss them with the entire group, not just with us. So they don't come to the experimentation team. Some of the elements from the experimentation team and the ambassadors are there normally, but it's also colleagues. It's the peers that review, sometimes from different areas, from different business units, because it's a single session for the entire group. See, it feels huge, but it's how it's working, because it's sometimes people come, they hear, even if they are not presenting some hypotheses, and they hear about what the others are thinking, or the way that they are thinking on how to define success, for example.
Alignment, meaning,
Exactly. And then we also have another sessions that are very important. We call them the experimentation clinics. The experimentation clinics is open office hours that happen regularly, where we just bring, they work as a bit of training sessions, but ongoing training sessions. So whenever that we see that there is a recurring topic that requires more details, more explanation, or there is a brand new topic that we want to broadcast to everybody, we bring it to one of those experimentation clinics. So it's a mix between training plus Q&A, big Q&A around what's happening in terms of the usage of toolings or practices. And then it ends with the most important session, which is the monthly test and learn. It's open for the entire company, really entire company, from the developers to execs. And where who run the tests actually comes and shares the results, but not necessarily just the results, but with the focus on the learnings. What did we actually learn about our users by running these tests?
So I come from academia and science, and the way that I'm looking at this area, this experimentation program work, is that it is an operating system and it's not a solution. It's a process, not a channel. And what I'm looking to do, and so my question here is, we'll pivot towards this, get your opinion on it, is move experimentation from under a channel, product or marketing or data, and place it under, place it from underneath the typically CMO is where, like, but by and large, it's pretty common, and place it underneath the COO, the Chief Operating Officer, and have it be an operating system and have it be a process, a way of thinking, this cultural change management type of activity. And what you described is like that true center of excellence. We're not the executioners, we are the enablers, and we're this underlayment. So you have all these channels, and then we're this underlayment that supports the channels. I guess, would you agree with that? I mean, I want to like term it like experimentation operating system or something like that.
What you described is basically, I think, where we are trying to position ourselves here at Farfetch.
Yeah.
I can tell you that all some of your assumptions were super correct. That's why, for example, even myself, I still report to the CPO line. So for the product line, it's normal. But at the same time, it's interesting how we started to position ourselves was not as a single team that is part of product, but always as a team that is an enabler for the entire company or the group even further. We were able to do that step by step by saying, okay, no, our team is actually compromised by a couple of people that we started identifying during our talks in the entire company from different areas. And no, you need to bring here to the company. We talked with their managers and we thought, no, that's definitely important for them to make sure that they have that time and space in their mind to think just about that. So let's work on these. That's what we did with marketing. We made sure that we had somebody that represented marketing as part of the core team. We made sure that we had somebody from the engineering team that was able to unlock many of these discussions around data and around our omni tracking system, around all the challenges that we will have. And yeah, you were discussing, for example, does it make sense this to be, for example, part of the COO line? And I would say we have a great connection with the COO, by the way, and that's also something that has been working. And I think that the answer to your question is, I don't think it matters where these teams are based. If you are okay with creating all these dotted lines with the different stakeholders and making sure that they are part of what we are doing.
Back in academia, and especially in conservation science, there's a phenomenon known as the implementation crisis. And it's well researched and published on this term, especially in conservation science. We collect data, we publish on it, we create plans, but we don't act. And there's this like weird gap, right? And this is an implementation gap, implementation crisis. And back then, there was another field that purported to solve it. And it was another field of science known as knowledge transfer science. So you have the data, but you need some kind of mechanism, some framework to transfer the knowledge around, connect the dots in a healthy way, in a healthy, efficient, effective way. Because you can connect dots in unhealthy ways that organizations don't work. Right?
But yeah, that's why it's so important, these shared learnings. And that's how, for example, we actually were able to expand to many other areas was through these sharing sessions. Many people came to me like from new business areas like, oh, I was part of this test and learn session. It was my first time that I got there. And I saw so many disconnections that we are not doing here. And I see some potential that we could do it. Done. That's how it starts a connection. That person is super interested. So if we go further, I'll bring that person to the ambassadors network. We do all the trainings, making sure that they know how to challenge that. And that's how, for example, we started with this Farfetch platform services area.